If you want to get good at having a beautiful everyday makeup routine, please watch this video. It's very in-depth. I say all the products and techniques that I use. Oh, did I mention that they're all drugstore products? And it's just a very fun but manageable everyday makeup look. Let's get started. Okay, so first, especially if it's in the morning when I'm getting ready, I like to put ice underneath my eyes because I feel like my eyes are very puffy. You probably can tell already that they still are, but trust me, they were much more puffy when I woke up. So I start with that, and then I put on witch hazel and face lotion, and then I like to start with my eyebrows before I do anything else. I feel like they take a bit to gel down. I go in with my got2b glue. I'm so sorry, my band-aid is so disgusting. It's because my whole nail split the other day, so I don't have much of a choice currently. And then I go in with a spoolie and I just get as much product as I can in to make the eyebrows stay in place. I like to brush up and out, and then I like to shape them after I've got them all brushed up. Am I like a little crazy while I'm doing it? But trust me, it looks really good after. The ends is what normally has a problem staying down. So I just go over those again and make them more sleek and thin. And now they're gelled. I'm all gonna go do the other side, and I'm also gonna go in with a Q-tip with witch hazel to clean up, or toner, whatever you would like to use, just so you can clean up the outer edges, because that's when you start to struggle with having lots of peeling and an uneven base. So I'm gonna go clean that up and I'll be right back. Now I'm back. Then I like to go in with the hair-like eyebrow pen. It was pretty popular on TikTok for a bit. I really like it, especially because I feel like I lack a little bit of hairs on the edges of my brows. But also I don't like to add too much heavy product on my brows. I like them to look a bit more natural. But the only issue is I swear they changed their colors, because I bleach my eyebrows and I know they're growing in a bit right now, but they normally end up being like a light orange. And so the blonde was working for me for a bit. It really was. And then I got it again because I will talk about this in another video, but I lost all my makeup on vacation. And so when I reordered some of my products that I just had to have, this was definitely at the top of the list. But when I ordered the light color, it was like a brown and it did not work whatsoever. So I had to order again. And the only other option I saw wasn't really a blonde. It was like a reddish brown. So long story short, this comes out a little bit more red than I would like it to. So I have to go over all my brows along with the edges to try to match the color. But normally I just go on the very end and add the tip and try to elongate it. Now I like to go in with some concealer, and I take just a small angled brush. I slightly carve out my eyebrows. Again, this is an everyday look, so I don't like it to look too dramatic, but I do just slightly go underneath to make them look more uniform, and honestly just to try to make them look more symmetrical. Okay, now I like to go in with my foundation. Go in with a bit of a coat, not too much. And I use a beauty blender to make it look more natural and even. It's mainly because I would rather just not put makeup in certain areas, but I feel like it looks way more even when I have at least some of the same product all over as a base to start. So I'm just gently patting that in all over. Now I'm taking my powdered bronzer. I like the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, and I am just placing this all over my chest and neck area, more so because it's winter. I don't think this is always necessary for an everyday makeup routine, but I do like everything looking even. And it honestly, even though it's more makeup, it helps to make it look less makeup-y, because now my face is not looking orange or caked on compared to the rest of my body. I feel like it helps even out the skin tone and the colors. Now it is time for some liquid bronzer. I like going in with the same concealer but a darker shade. I'm just focusing it on right around my cheeks for some color and contouring a bit, as well as around the frame of my forehead. I like to just mix it with a beauty blender from there. Now we're gonna go in with a liquid blush. I absolutely love the Plouise line. If I could have all the shades and everything, I would. So I'm just placing this on the tops of my cheeks. And this is not gonna be our official blush. I know it might sound counterintuitive for like kind of a more everyday look, but the more layers you put on, the better. Obviously you can control how much layers you put on. This goes for really any makeup, especially glam. You just use a bit more, or like the placing of it will be a bit more dramatic. But I feel like the more products you layer on just in little bits, it'll make the makeup look so much more seamless and less choppy, so I feel like it'll look more natural. Now it's time to go in with blush. I am using, I believe, Milani Peach. I'm not sure actually what I use, but it's more of a peach tone blush. I would like to dabble in a bit of like a lighter pink one. I know I used a lighter pink one to start underneath. I really think it just depends on like your skin tone or the season or your hair color. So it's gonna switch up your blush sometimes. This one's like more of a peach tone. Now time to go in with the concealer. I am using the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. I love this concealer. I feel like it looks so pretty and it has high coverage without getting too many creases or wrinkles. So the key to this for an everyday look, since we're not going to be layering on too much powder to set, we are just gonna focus it near the nose and we'll blend it a little bit higher into this corner here. So I'm just putting a little bit in the areas that I want to highlight, and that is it. A little bit goes a long way, and you want to be able to build upon what you have, but you don't want to put too much to begin with because it's very difficult to take off. Now I'm just going in with my beauty blender and I am trying to blend the best I can so that everything looks seamless. The key to a more brighter eye is to blend higher into this corner here where it gets kind of dark, because it kind of tricks the brain into knowing that if this area is super bright, it kind of brightens everything else and it leaves you feeling like you don't really have much of a need to place a bunch more concealer on the bags, because honestly, sometimes our bags are just genetic, our under eye bags. Like here I have like a full on just like dip, and that's just how my face is built. So there's not really any amount of makeup that's going to cover that. You would have to actually fill that area. So adding more concealer or blending it to this darker spot in the inner corner really helps alleviate the need for more concealer. Okay, now we're gonna slightly go back over that area with the powdered blush. I'm gonna focus it a bit more on top, right where we just did the concealer, so that way we're not bringing the blush too low, and really focusing on the placement to make it look more snatched. That way you don't have blush all over the place, which is important when you're adding layers, because you could be adding layers, but they could all be in different places, and then it really defeats the purpose of why you added layers in the first place. Now I'm taking the NYX Micro Brow Pencil in the shade Taupe, and I'm using this to create some freckles. We're gonna use the freckles to contour just a little bit. I'm just going a little round part there. I like to go down the middle and create a little space where I'll leave it blank. And then from there, I just go in and add the rest of the freckles really wherever I want to make it look more natural. Okay, now I'm going back in with that eyeshadow I used to contour, and I'm going to use a little brush, and I'm going to contour around my nose. I like to add a little bit of depth in the inner corners, especially because I don't go in with a crazy eyeshadow look for my everyday look. So I feel like this adds a little bit more color and the depth to see what's going on the lids, as well as under the nose. I feel like when you have a nose that goes down a little bit, just adding a little of contour straight underneath to help lift it makes it look more natural rather than going crazy with the contour. And I just focus it a bit on the sides and on the top. Okay, now here's where things get really interesting in my opinion. I love using the Wet n Wild translucent powder, and this just is what makes everything so much more elevated. For everyday looks, I used to never use powder because I thought it looked too much. I thought it was doing the opposite of what I wanted with an everyday look, to look more natural and put together. And in fact, it was the opposite, in my opinion, because my makeup would be falling off and you could see all the little creases and the little pores and the little texture makeup you use. And adding some translucent powder on top of the areas that you use concealer is the biggest life hack that I decided to start doing, which is super normal for makeup to use, but I just felt it wasn't necessary for an everyday look, and I think it is. I think it's helped me feel so much more put together. It has made everything look so much more natural, and it lasts all day, which is perfect for everyday looks because normally you're at work or at school. So I just love using just a little bit. I normally tap off the powder puff so that way I'm not using a whole bunch of powder, because you can do that and that's great for an all glam look, but not quite the look you want for an everyday look. It just helps with the shininess, especially when I struggled with acne. I feel like I would have enjoyed using some powder. I felt it was going to do the opposite, but I think it really helps even out the skin tone and pack everything in so it's not all, so your makeup is not falling all over the place. Now for some eyeshadow, I'm going in with the Natural Lust palette. I like to use Fall Hard. It's this like kind of like, it's this purpley color. It's very light, nothing too crazy. I think it helps to add, depends on your skin tone, but it helps to add a little bit more of color without doing a full eyeshadow look. So this way you don't just see the stark concealer over your lids. This looks much more natural and fun. I do encourage you to find an everyday eyeshadow color. You can use mine if you would like. It's more of like a rosy look, but it's very fun because sometimes when we tell ourselves we just want to look natural, we just want to look like put together, we don't want anything crazy, sometimes we neglect things that make it fun with makeup. For instance, like being concerned about covering certain blemishes. I understand wanting to do that and using makeup to kind of cover up areas that we're not very fond of. But makeup truly is to enhance your beauty and to have fun. So I feel like if you leave the colorful parts out, you will really be missing out on the point of makeup. All right, I'm gonna go in with this Love Spark. Something fun that I like to do is I love adding some sparkles to the inner corner of my lid. It is so fun. Once I started doing it, I never stopped. I do it with many eye looks, but I especially do it for my everyday look. I feel like finding something fun that you love about makeup and finding a way to incorporate it in your everyday makeup routine is elite. I think you will start really enjoying getting ready in the morning and feeling like you have a sense of style and finding your identity and where you like to mix and match or try different looks, or there's one look you like to do every day. Doesn't matter. That is what makeup's for. I think it's all about expressing yourself and feeling beautiful and having fun and showing that to the world. So I love to do that by adding some sparkles in my inner corners. I also add this same eyeshadow to the tops of my cheeks for a highlight. I think it's fun to match it with my eyeshadow. I often do that depending on what eyeshadow look I'm doing. And for a natural look, it's less stark, but it still adds a beautiful glow. I love doing my lips, so I always leave it for last, especially because it helps it last longer. I'm just gonna go in with my powder puff from the excess powder we had earlier and make sure that my lips are all prepped to add lip liner. I know that many of us like to leave our lips alone, and that's totally fine. I feel like my makeup is not put together without a lip combo. It's so fun to switch it up. So this is not really my everyday look, but it's something I would do. I have a couple lip combos that I switch around for everyday looks. Again, this is something fun to find a way to express yourself with makeup without feeling like you have to do a whole cut crease to show that you're expressing yourself or that you like makeup, which that's fun too. I just don't have the time. So I'm going in with my NYX Moonwalk lip liner. It is absolutely my favorite purple, like kind of natural shade. Otherwise I would go for a neutral brown. So I'm just gonna start outlining my lips. Okay, as you can see, I really just did the outside. I'm not crazy about putting lipstick on for everyday look because I feel like it just falls off throughout the day and I don't like reapplying it during like work. So I leave it like this, and then I'm going to start using my lip liner to do an ombre by just focusing on the corners and bringing it in. This way we use our lip liner basically over all our lips, but the placement is strategic. Now we have some fuller looking lips without the need for lipstick. I am going to take some chapstick and use that to slightly blend out the lipstick and also to add the glossy effect. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with my Milani Make It Last setting spray. This helps make it look more natural and less powdery. And while that is setting, I am going to go do another video to show you how I maintain my copper hair. Feel free to watch that next. And I will be right back with the finished look. Okay, here's the final results with everything put together. My favorite part is always just a little bit of sparkle in the inner corner. It just makes me feel so much brighter and put together. I hope you loved this video. If so, please like and comment if you have any other questions. I'm trying to make more YouTube videos, so please let me know what kind of videos you would like to see for longer content on different types of makeup styles or inspiration. I love trying new things and I'm trying to get better at being more consistent. I'm sure your makeup turned out absolutely gorgeous, and I will see you next time.